didn't get it. Got it. You join me inside the cabin of the 2020 Audi SQ8. Yes, it is a coupe-design SUV, and if you watched my Porsche Cayenne Coupe review, you know how I feel about these. But this one has 500 horsepower, so I'm kind of willing to give it a chance. In the Audi lineup, this one falls between the standard 335 horsepower Q8 and the macho 190 mile an hour, 592 horsepower RSQ8. So we're going to see if it can make a case for itself in terms of performance, style, technology, and comfort. That is today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the all-new Audi SQ8. This one is painted Navarro Blue Metallic. Charge you an extra $500 for it. It's like a midnight blue with metallic flake to it. Looks really good in the sunlight. And without the sunlight, it looks almost black. Before I go into subscribe and, support the channel and all that, I got to share a story with you. So I get this car for 9 hours. It's very much a first drive situation, unlike the other press vehicles, which I have for a week. They're just rolling out this car. They want to get as many journalists to drive it as possible, so we don't have much time with it. Anyway, so at like 7:30 a.m. this morning, they call me. All right, we're going to drop off the car. They leave it in front of my garage. And 7 minutes later, I go out. And typically, they leave the cars completely clean and ready for you to go review, drive, whatever. And so they did, except that within those 7 minutes, a bird had absolutely obliterated the top of the car. It wasn't just like a little poop here and there. It was a diarrhea like I've never seen before. I'm sorry I'm going so into detail, but it took me 15 minutes to clean up this bird's last 10 meals. It was disgusting. 7 minutes, that was the window of when they dropped off the car and when a bird came and was just like right there. That car right there. I know what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna let him have it. It was gross. Anyway, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell to get notified. Get videos like this every day. Seriously, walk-arounds, POV drives, live Q&As, reviews, all that. So you want to click the subscribe button and click the bell. And then if you want to support the channel, you are the best. You're so good. A couple different ways you can do that. I've got merchandise, Miles Per Hour t-shirts, and face masks, and stuff like that. And then I also have a Patreon account. If you want to just support on a tier system, got some perks for you in exchange for your support. Keep me going. Keep the daily videos going. And with the nasty bird poop stories and subscribe pushing out of the way, let's talk about the SQ8. So stylistically, the things that are going to be dead giveaways, some of which are equipped on this car, and some are standard, some are options that I don't have here. But up here at the front, what I do have is the Black Optic package, which is going to take all of the alu optic trim pieces, Audi speak for kind of brushed metal pieces, around the car and paint them black. So the grille, this big old grille, it would typically have this aluminum optic trim around the border. It is now painted black with the Black Optic package. I think black is preferred because the aluminum optic makes you realize how large the grille is. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I think the Black Optic subtles it, keeps the tone down. It works. You've got the SQ8 badges, and then as standard, you also have larger air intakes down here, functional, cooling the front tires and brakes. And then this one does not have the Prestige package, which would bring with it HD Matrix headlights, which are Audi's kind of specific light system that give you some cool animations. You lock or unlock the car and the lights will kind of dance for you. And then the Matrix light system works around obstacles. It hasn't been approved yet in the US, but when it is, they'll be able to turn that on with a software update. And those are pretty cool. But as standard, you do get LED headlights and taillights. Working our way to the side, the Black Optic package, man, that's hard to say fast. Black Optic package, I can't do it, comes with 22-inch wheels wrapped in hand-cooked performance tires. As standard for the SQ8, you get 21-inch wheels. And you know what? I don't know how, but 22-inch wheels now look just right on a car. I guess a car as big as this one. 21, I don't know, it might look too small. That's weird to say. But there is enough sidewall. I think that's the kicker for me. There's enough sidewall on the tire. 285 section at all four corners, by the way. As part of the Black Optic package, this, which would normally be that Alu Optic brushed metal finish, is painted black. Black mirror caps, those again would be Alu Optic instead of the Alu Optic trim. I'm going to stop saying that, it's too long of a word. Instead of that trim, it's now painted black. The roof rails would normally be black anyway. And you can start to see the panoramic sunroof from up there. And I'll get into whether it's really a panoramic sunroof or not. Good way to see the paint here. See, the color really changes. It's a deep, rich blue. I like this color. Go into the profile. Not typically a fan of these SUV coupes, as we know, but this one, I think it's the hard lines that helps me get on board with the design language. This is Audi's flagship. They want it to be a flagship look. They want it to have presence on the road, and it just works for me. Acknowledging the sacrifice to practicality compared to the Q7, it just really works. I like the silhouette. Coming to the back, this also is a good angle on the vehicle. This slowly tapering roof line down here, black trim pieces here, subtle roof mounted spoiler, and then Audi just kills it with their lights. They always have, and I mean, this is no exception. Love the designs, and if they were the HD matrix lights, they would also do some dances for you, but even without, the LEDs look really good. That strip goes across the tailgate. You've got the 4 rings, of course, SQ8 badges, and then down here, this is one of your giveaways that it's the S model, not the regular Q8, is the quad exhaust ports. And if it was the RSQ8, then it's like a trapezoidal exhaust thing. So the S is really looking good down here. You also have a distinct diffuser for the S models as opposed to the regular Q8 models. So I gotta say, design, I'm very much on board with. They didn't overdo it with the S, and unlike the RSQ8, where it's perhaps too much, this one is subtly more muscular, but still, gotta say it, handsome. Still a handsome SUV. Now, one thing I didn't point out on the wheels is that if this was equipped with the Sport package, you would know immediately because it had red brake calipers. This one, with the black painted brake calipers, does not have the Sport package, so it doesn't have the active anti-roll bars and the Sport differential, the electronic locking rear differential. But that's your giveaway on that one. This only has the Black Optic package and the Navarro Blue paint. Let's hop into the interior and see what we've got in there. On our way in, we can note that we have smart key access for the front doors and the rear doors. That's standard. Leave the key in your pocket, pull on the handle, it'll unlock, put your finger on the sensor here, and it will lock. I like that it's not a physical button, it's just a sensor. Opening up, here's what we have in the Premium Plus, aka the base SQ8. There's the Prestige package on top of this, but so many standard features as part of the Premium Plus pack. So let's go over those. First, we have Valcona leather, heated and ventilated front seats. And we've got perforation and that quilted stitching and the S badge stitched right in there in the seats. Down below, we've got a bunch of adjustability, lumbar, forward, backward, tilt for the backrest. The doors have this Alcantara material in the centers. Up here we have some textured and squishier injection molding. Not leather, I wish that was leather, but that's all right. Down here we have more injection molding, not leather again. This should be leather. Should be leather in an almost $100,000 vehicle. we have this carbon vector inlays. That is an option on this model. So it costs about $500 and it looks pretty good for high gloss carbon fiber. I do prefer the matte finish for the carbon fiber, but not a bad look here. Power windows up, down for all four. You can fold in your door mirrors. More of this kind of scratchy, harder plastic down here. Actually, this is the first time we're seeing harder plastic. And we do have a standard Bang & Olufsen sound system. Not an option, standard feature in the Premium Plus. Power lift gate. Hold the button, it raises. And press the button again, and it will lower. And you can let go of the button and it'll stop. Or hold it, so let it go all the way down. It's a pretty quick tailgate. S-Sills tread plates. Aluminum finish pedals, including the dead pedal. Got a bit of a cubby in here. More of this carbon vector for the center trim throughout. And then lots of piano black. Don't love piano black. It smudges, it scratches, it doesn't look good after the first few months, honestly. But I do like the metal trim bordering that. It looks good. Again, it looks good originally. Then it doesn't look so great. You've got your light controls here. And then a perforated leather steering wheel. Let's hop on in and get to the other stuff. Let's hear the sound of that door closing. Ooh, solid. Now, if I had the Prestige model, these would be soft close doors, but I don't. So they just have to close themselves. You have to close them yourselves. Anyway, so perforation on the steering wheel and stitching. Good feeling leather wheel. Nice thickness. And then a metal piece down here with S badging. This does feel like aluminum. It doesn't feel like plastic. But I've seen on luxury vehicles this to be leather. This on this one is plastic. Couple places where there's plastic that I don't think there should be. But as it relates to the tech in this car, it is phenomenal and all standard except for the head-up display that you would have to get if you had the Prestige model. That you would get if you got the Prestige model. But this latest generation of Audi's virtual cockpit, a fully digital instrument cluster, is superb. It is so quick, very user-friendly, so much customization, and you can do more than the customization I'm doing right now because you can go into settings, display and brightness, virtual cockpit, and then you can choose from the S performance that we have right here with the sort of angled tachometer, or you can do more traditional sport gauges. So that's all within the virtual cockpit. As you can see, lightning quick and really crisp resolution. I'm a sucker for the full map view with Google Maps on there. It just looks really cool. Very futuristic. And these, though plastic, feel high quality. Like the controls themselves, I don't think they're going to break easily. Diminutive paddle shifters, however, these look like they're straight out of a Volkswagen Golf GTI. They are tiny, and I think for a performance SUV, and there's not much travel to them, they don't cut it for me. You do have on this particular model the driver assistance package that would be standard if you got the Prestige, and the Prestige is something like $5,000. And as I'm adding all these things in my head, it seems like more of a good deal. But we do have driver assistance features like lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and side assist, and some other, no, side assist may be standard. There are actually quite a few standard features like auto emergency braking, blind spot monitoring with route cross traffic alert, but if you want the self-driving features, then you're going to have to go for the driver assistance package. More tech over here and more piano black. Look at this. So much fuzz. They just wiped this down. It's already got fuzz all over it. It pulls down the coolness of the slick surface. I like the Quattro with texture right in there just in front of the passenger. Carbon vector inlays below that. That looks good, and the chrome or in the brush metal borders around that looks good, but yeah, too much piano black. Anyway, so you have a pair of screens here functioning as your MMI infotainment. You have a upper 10.1 inch screen, a lower 8.6 inch screen, and they are both, I love this, haptic feedback, meaning they're not just touch displays, such that if you've got your eyes on the road and you're poking around over here, you have no idea if you have actually input the right function. Haptic feedback gives you a tactile response, so you know, I actually pressed that button, this thing is actually putting in motion right now. So haptic feedback, good. It's a good replacement for physical controls. I still am one to prefer physical controls, and even sometimes with haptic feedback, I find myself wanting a physical redundancy, but it is the best replacement there is right now for physical controls. So in here, this is pretty neat. We've got animations for, I pressed too hard, animations for some of the pre-selections on the menu here, and you can reconfigure this whole thing, set it up how you want, but the colors related to the icons are going to stay the same. So you'll know phone apps, that's going to be green, vehicles going to be red, media is going to be orange, yada yada yada. But you can reconfigure them as you will between these two displays, and it does function just like a smartphone, unlike some infotainments where it's not intuitive. This one, very much, if you used a smartphone, you know how to use it. That Bang & Olufsen sound system as standard. Very good sound system. And then down here we have more your climate control systems. So all of your entertainment and apps and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which are wireless now. So you can leave your key in the smartphone charging pad, which is standard. Leave your, phone in there, and you don't have to plug it in, and you'll be able to pull up Apple CarPlay on the display right here, or Android Auto. I will show you a clip of that right now. Down here we have your climate control settings and some shortcuts, so you can program the system to have shortcuts to just pull up immediately. So as you use this car more, as you customize it more, it becomes easier and easier to use. But down here for now, we just have our heated and ventilated seats. I'm starting to sweat like crazy because it's a warm day. And then we have your drive select modes. So you press this button here and it pulls up 6 different modes technically, because individual is its own mode. But we have off-road, which the air suspension system is standard on this vehicle, so it will raise and lower the suspension. So if you've got an off-road mode going, it will raise the vehicle all the way up. All-road, that's sort of like it's kind of a weird mode actually. All-road is not off-road, but it does work based on various traction settings, various surfaces on the road. Comfort, self-explanatory. Auto is the one I leave it in most often. It kind of knows your driving behavior based on your inputs and will set up the car as such. Dynamic is the most dynamic setting. Think of it as a sport mode. Dials in the steering response, the throttle response, and the suspension. And last but not least, we have individual, which you can program certain settings in here. So you press the button once and it pulls up all these. We've seen these on a bunch of other premium SUVs, premium performance SUVs. Good to see that here. And then we do have a physical volume knob, always important, with seek. So you press it over one side or the other and it seeks ahead. Physical button to pull up your active safety features, and you can just do these presets of basic or maximum, or you can individualize which settings you want. So you can see all the things we have available here. Start, stop, ignition, and then a really cool perforated leather gear selector. So it just if you can leave your hand, you can see I'm sweating right now, but you rest your arm on the center console and then you can rest your hand here, and it makes for a really comfortable place to pull the gear selector. Down for drive. Car's not on. Got to turn the car on. Let's try that. Oh, rumble. So, down for drive. Pull one more time to get it into sport mode. Over to go into manual mode. And then P for park. Up for reverse. One of the sensors is having a field day here. But you can see the 360 camera is standard in this vehicle. Correct myself. The 360 camera is part of the driver assistance package. That was one of the features I didn't list as part of the driver assist pack, but the 360 camera is part of it. But you still get so many different camera angles, even without the 360 cam. You can see I'm very much into the plant right here. Lots of different angles. Super cool. And I like the 3D one. So that's your camera system. Pull for parking brake. Let's take out the key here so you can look at that. S-badged key. Panic button up top. On the other side, more piano black. They love that stuff. We've got the 4 rings down there. Unlock, lock, and press twice for the lift gate. It's kind of a small and not really substantial key. I do like the leather key ring that comes with it, however. And then the center console is adjustable, so you can slide it forward for a more comfortable driving position for your arm. Slide it back. You do have to have it slid forward for you to open it. But then you can see that wireless charging pad. And then we've got 2 more USB ports down there and an SD card slot. I showed you this portion over here, but how about the glove box? Good size glove box. Actually, really good size glove box. That's nice. Very SUV-like there. And you know, I glossed over the cup holders, but we do have our big bottle, and I am rebranding this. It is not the large water bottle test anymore. That's too much to say. It's the big bottle test. Let's see if the Audi SQ8 can handle a big bottle. Not in the cup holders, that's for sure. Center console. Gross with my sweat. No, there's no place in there for that to go. Door pocket, that looks more promising. Oh yeah, that fits right in there. Not even that snug. That's a good size pocket. Audi SQ8, you pass the big bottle test. I'm not even going in the glove box. We know it's going to fit in there, but we don't want to grab it from there. So, Audi SQ8, you pass. Nice job. Let's go up to the rearview mirror. We do not have a digital rearview mirror in this car, but there are only 2 rows of seating. If you can't really see past the people back there, then ask them to look for you, I guess. Here is your pano sunroof controls, and I'm going to put an asterisk next to pano because when I get in the back seat, you'll see it's kind of like a sunroof and a half. It's not massive. It doesn't go back to above the rear passengers. It's good size, brings in more light than a standard sunroof, but it isn't what I would call panoramic. And the visor that comes to cover the sunroof comes very slowly. It does black it out completely. There's not light that gets through here. It's like a full roof panel. And then the sunroof itself goes back fairly far. No. And then also will tilt for you. Up here, we do not have Alcantara headliner or anything of the sort, but we do have sliding sun visors. So you have that full coverage area. That's pretty nice. Grab handle here, cheaper plastic. Not a fan of that. Oh, I was in drive still. Let's put it in park. And now let's go check out the rear seats. Alright, so I'm going to go straight into the sunroof because I was just talking about it. Why not finish the point? So you can see it goes to here, but the passengers are back here. So there's this whole piece between the sunroof and the passenger that isn't bringing in light. They can't look directly up. They'd have to scoot forward and then look up to see sky above them. So that's not the best. You do have LED lights back here. Their own grab handles, coat hooks there and there, but again, cheaper plastic. The doors are like the fronts in that they have some injection molding up here, the Alcantara inserts, more injection molding, ashtrays, interesting. You can tell it's a German vehicle. And then pretty good sized door pockets, Bang & Olufsen speakers down here. Not S-branded tread plates, but they have some light that illuminates from those at night. That's cool. And then we've got netting behind the seats. We have quad zone climate control. That's pretty neat as a standard feature for the Premium Plus. 2 more USB ports, not USB-C. Don't see any USB-C anywhere in the vehicle, but we have a good number of USB ports. All important vents. And if you get the Prestige package, you also get heated rear seats and power rear sunshades. So those are things that you don't have on the Premium Plus, but you can get them. And like the front seats, these are perforated, quilted Velcona leather seats. Very comfortable. Let's hop in. Show you what I'm working with legroom wise, which is a lot. I have a lot of legroom. 1 good sized foot pocket, very important, so my legs can slide all the way under, really reduce that knee angle. I'm wearing shorts, I'm not naked. Jeez. Anyway, that's me at 6 feet tall. This is what my legroom looks like. Really, really good. You can stretch out back here for sure. So that's a big plus with the Q8. This piece comes down. You've got cup holders, smaller ones. My big bottle would not fit in there, that's for sure. And then a pass-through beyond that. The seat angle can be changed by pulling up on this tab and sliding it back. It doesn't go crazy far back, and there's only 2 angles, so here's the further forward one. And here's it slid back. You can see, not much of an angle. It's effectively like 1.5 inches. But we're inside. Let's look at the headroom here. This is with the seat angled back. But, you know, I've got, what, inch and a half? Let's go seat angle forward. And I still have a good amount of headroom. Headroom's not going to be an issue in this vehicle. And I think you could fit 5 adults back here. Not necessarily comfortably 5 adults, but you could fit 5 adults back here. 5 adults total. If you fit 5 adults back here, I'm impressed and also worried for you. 3 adults plus 2 adults is 5 adults. 5 seating. Seating for 5. 3 could fit back here. 2 comfortably. We're going to leave it there. I'm losing it. I will note, you do need to be back here to fold the seats down, however, as we're going to see when I go to the trunk. .5 cubic feet of space, I believe, behind the second row. There's my backpack for reference. Good amount of storage space. And you do have the cargo cover here. Come on, back. But yeah, like I said, there are no power controls to fold those rear seats or even manual controls from back here. You have to come to the side and press down. They go almost completely flat. But I really wish you didn't have to go to the sides to pull those down. Again, $90-something thousand SUV. Seems like manual labor I don't want to have to do. But there you go. Seats folded down. You've got 60 cubic feet of space. You shouldn't have any issues fitting stuff in here. It is still practical as a coupe design SUV. Not as practical as Q7. You know, more standard styled SUVs are going to have more practicality than the coupes, but it's still practical. Up you go seats. You know, at least as manual labor goes, this is pretty easy. I can do it one-handed. But I don't want to have to do it. Power tailgate. Press the button up there. Has a soft close function there. And with that, we've checked out the interior of the Premium Plus SQ8. And now it's time, therefore, to rev it up and go drive. I think we should start off this review of the Audi SQ8, or rather the driving portion, with a bit of launch control. So the way we do that is we switch off traction control completely not sport traction, completely off, and then we put it in dynamic, and we put our foot on the brake, mount the throttle, holds to 2,500, and we're gone. Oh, that's fast. 0 to 60, 4.3 seconds. Top speed 155 miles an hour, that's electronically limited. But making that power, that 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque, is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Yes, we've got the V8. Unlike some other Audi S-badge models, which are losing the V8, like the S7 I was just in favor of V6s, this one keeps the V8, and because it's bigger. Bigger needs a badder engine. And so we have 500 horsepower, and it gets us moving. It really does. Even though we've got 5,000 pounds to lug around, it does get us moving. And it makes a nice noise too. Bit of snarl, the gear shift. That's good too. This 8-speed automatic, I'm a fan of it. Shifts gears quickly, efficiently. When you don't have it in dynamic mode, it's smooth. And you've got so much versatility here. We can have a normal drive mode, in sport drive mode, in manual mode. You take your pick. The only thing I don't like about it is that I've got these dinky paddles. I complained about them in the interior walk around, but they really do just bring down the vibe here. It doesn't feel quite as authoritative as performance of a performance SUV because we've got these GTI-derived paddles. They just, part sharing done poorly here. I don't like that. Apart from that, the transmission is very good. And let's talk about the handling as I go through this roundabout up top here, because Audi's all-wheel drive system with a power split of 40-60 here in the SQ8 is a really good system. However, there's still that tendency to understeer. It just wants to plow that front end. And I do have traction control switched all the way off for the launch control that I was just doing, and it just still wants to plow. Nothing you can do about that. And the steering feel is a little dead on center. I don't get a ton of communication. It is that immediate turn in. I love that. But the steering feedback is wanting. I want more out of it. I think other performance SUVs do a much better job of that. Specifically Porsche, they do a killer job with steering feedback and feel. And I think their handling is sharper. However, the SQ8 isn't really a corner carver. I know it could go through a set of corners, and I think it would do so confidently. I think especially if you got the sport package for this vehicle. I don't have it here, but for $5,900, you get stuff like the active anti-roll bars that are triggered by the mild hybrid system equipped on the car, and you also get that electronic locking rear differential. Both those things would help, certainly. The anti-roll bars would help with the body roll. There's a touch of it here. And the E-diff would definitely help for distributing the power more appropriately. I think perhaps could even mitigate some of that understeer. But I think even with those things, this isn't really the corner carver or track day SUV. This is much more about the power, the passing power that you have on a daily basis in this for your commutes or a fun run on the weekends is really good. It's really very good. So potent, and I love the V8. I love the noise. You can't mimic that with the V6 or smaller displacement engines. You just can't mimic that. This is the right engine, and it makes the right amount of power, and it really gets you moving. You forget about all that weight, except in the corners. Remember the weight in the corners, but in a straight line, you really forget about it. And apart from the small amount of noise that's getting into the cabin, I wish I heard more of that exhaust noise. It's okay. Apart from that noise, the cabin is really very quiet and is super dialed in as a luxury vehicle. These seats are ultra comfortable. The leather is soft. I feel like the bolsters are ergonomic. They hold you in place in corners, but they're not aggressive. I wish you could adjust them. Maybe if you have a different body type. For me, they fit perfectly. So that's all good. The ride quality is excellent with this air suspension system. Just floats over things, but not in a, Rolls-Royce sort of not dynamic way. Just floats in a really pleasant way. This is an excellent luxury vehicle. I would love to daily drive / commute this vehicle. It would be perfect. I'm astonished at how little noise you get in the cabin, wind and road noise. There was only one thing I heard on the highway. It was like this super loud Mack truck. Apart from that, nothing. It's really very quiet. So it nails that element. The heated and ventilated seats are great. The tech is really great. Sure, a head-up display as part of the Prestige package would be nice, but you don't really need it. And you have to ask yourself whether that $5,900 sport package is worth it. I think that at the as-tested, almost $95,000, again, starts right under $90,000, but the as-tested $95,000, I would just go ahead and get the Prestige package, which gives you all of those luxury goodies and really more affirms the premium nature of this vehicle. But all that said, let's consider how it stacks up with rivals. Styling is going to be the best thing for this Q8, I think. But of course, there are more considerations there than just the styling. You also have performance. So let's talk about the rivals. We have the BMW X6 M50i, and that starts at right around $87,000, so just a tick less than the $89,900 starting figure for the Premium Plus SQ8. That makes 523 horsepower, so more power than this model. And 0 to 60 is quicker, 4.1 seconds. Fuel economy is better, not much, but better at 18 combined mpg. Then we have the Mercedes-AMG GLE 53 Coupe. That one starts much less at $77,000, but makes much less power, 429 horsepower from a twin-turbo V6. And fuel economy for that is significantly better with the V6. It's 22 combined mpg, and 0 to 60 is just a tick off the SQ8s. Then we get to the Cayenne Coupe, rather the GTS Cayenne Coupe. That one starts at much more, $112,000, but it gets to 60 in faster than this, 4.2 seconds. The fuel economy is still better, 21 mpg, and I think it looks really, really good, and the handling of that vehicle is superb. So that's your spread of your coupe design performance SUVs. How does the SQ8 stack up? I already mentioned the starting figure, just under $90,000. If you want to spend less than $100,000, it doesn't really get better than the SQ8. I think this has the look, it has the tech. I didn't mention this, but those active safety features as part of the driver assistance package, the adaptive cruise control, the lane keeping assist work really, really well. And the comfort's there. The other technology features, the infotainments, the virtual cockpit are cutting edge. It's comfortable. Oh man, I mean, this would be such a stellar executive SUV with that coupe design that everyone's a fan of these days. This is my choice in this segment for under $100,000. If you've got more than $100,000 to spend, then that Cayenne Coupe GTS is pretty spectacular. So there you have it. There is the 2020 Audi SQ8. It fires on all cylinders, all 8 of them, and I'm a huge fan, especially because it has launch control. So we will end this video with that, putting it in dynamic. Traction control is off, foot on the brake, map the throttle, and we're gone. I like bookending a review. Start with launch control, end with launch control.